This is Kurt Top, and these are the 100 most amazing discoveries in the world. In one of the most remote caves on our planet, archaeologists discovered a mysterious bronze artifact. And at the moment, not a single scientist on the planet can explain how it ended up there. In the jungle, a student discovered a giant city, and researchers are trying to figure out if there is life there. Jewelry in an unusual place, and why a Chinese bride today needs to dig a hole. Learn about these discoveries and more in this video. Hi, my friend, you're watching the Kurt Top channel. What was found inside the alien mummies? Mexican journalist and ufologist Jaime Maussan made a sensational statement about the alien mummies found in Peru. According to him, rare metals from alloys were discovered inside these bodies, which could have served as devices for intergalactic communication. One of these metals is osmium, a rare and very expensive element used in telecommunications and space technologies. However, it is also known for its toxicity. Maussan suggests that the devices found could have been something like mobile phones that aliens used to communicate. It could be a communication device, although no one knows how it works yet. The osmium that was discovered is particularly surprising. This metal is not only hard to find, but it's also deadly. If someone wanted to make a fake, why would they put such a rare and toxic metal inside? Currently, the bodies of the aliens are being studied in laboratories. However, many scientists are skeptical about these findings. They believe the mummies may have been made from parts of various animals. Trilingual cuneiform inscription. Before you is the inscription of Xerxes, the first one of the great Persian kings who ruled in the 5th century BC. This inscription is carved into a smooth section of rock 20 meters above the ground, which makes it difficult to access and gives it a special grandeur. It is located near Lake Van in modern-day Turkey and is part of the ancient Van fortress. The inscription is unique because it is written in 3 languages: Old Persian, Elamite, and Akkadian, which was typical for Persian kings who sought to demonstrate their power over many peoples. Xerxes the Boy, known for his campaigns against the Greeks and mentioned in Greek history, used similar inscriptions to assert his authority and greatness. Each symbol here was carved with great precision, and cuneiform was used to convey the official message. The height and complexity of the inscription's placement also indicate the power of the Persian king, and it was meant to be visible to everyone who passed by. Connection with ancient Egyptian priests. Among the many occult theories that the Nazis were interested in, a special place was given to the idea of ancient Egyptian priests. The leaders of the Third Reich, especially members of the Ahnenerbe organization, believed that ancient Egyptian priests possessed secret knowledge about the afterlife, magic, and power over death. In their opinion, this knowledge could be used to gain control over spiritual and physical forces, which would make the Nazis invincible. Nazi expeditions to Egypt, organized under the auspices of the Ahnenerbe, were aimed at searching for ancient artifacts related to the pharaohs and their rituals. The cult of Osiris, the god of the afterlife and rebirth, symbolizing eternal life and power, was of particular interest. Osiris, seen by the Nazis as the patron of resurrection and life cycle, was believed to hold the key to immortality and soul control. The expeditions aimed to find ancient texts and artifacts that could reveal the secret rituals of the priests, performed in temples and pyramids. The Nazis were searching for magical items such as staffs, amulets, and sacred scrolls that could give them access to spiritual power by using the magical rituals of the ancient priests. Although no official evidence of successful discoveries or magical artifacts was presented, the Nazi elite believed that the ancient Egyptian priests possessed true knowledge about the nature of life and death. A discovery in a hard-to-reach cave. This bronze dagger with a bone handle is a Bronze Age artifact found in Malta in an almost inaccessible cave beneath the Dingley Cliffs. It dates back to around 2000 BC, and it belongs to the Borg in Nadur phase, when an advanced Bronze Age culture existed in Malta. However, it is still unknown why the ancient inhabitants chose this remote cave to place their artifacts. Perhaps the place had special significance or ritual value. The dagger's handle is decorated with circular patterns, which draws attention and raises many questions. This motif resembles certain elements of Mycenaean Greek art, which may indicate cultural influence. Interestingly, in the Bronze Age village where this dagger was found, shards of Mycenaean pottery were also discovered. Why was the dagger left in this cave? Was it part of a ritual or a symbol of special status? We can only guess. But every detail, from the green patina on the blade to the mysterious circles on the handle, makes us think about the life and worldview of the ancient Maltese people and perhaps their connections with the Mycenaean Greeks. The tablet from Glozell. In 1924, clay tablets with mysterious symbols and images were discovered in the small village of Glozell in France, which sparked heated debates in the scientific community. These artifacts, discovered by a young farmer named Emily Fratta, turned out to be so unusual that it was impossible to link them to any known ancient civilization. The tablets contain symbols and images resembling ancient scripts. However, their origin and meaning remain unclear. Some researchers have hypothesized that the Glozell tablets could be evidence of a lost or unknown culture that developed in this region thousands of years ago. Another, more radical theory suggests that these tablets may be traces of extraterrestrial intervention, although there is very little evidence to support this. However, the authenticity of the tablets remains in question. Since their discovery, scientists have conducted numerous studies to determine whether they are genuine ancient artifacts or skillful forgeries. To this day, neither version has received definitive confirmation, and the Glozell tablets continue to remain one of the most mysterious archaeological discoveries of the 20th century. The Cemetery of Ancient Slavs in Germany. Archaeologists from Saxony-Anhalt, Germany, made an important discovery by uncovering a medieval Slavic settlement and cemetery near Wittenleben. These discoveries were made during preparations for the construction of the underground power line Süd-Ostlink. The excavations revealed a settlement covering an area of 1.2 acres, dating back to the period of the Great Migration and the early Middle Ages, from the 5th to the 10th centuries AD. The settlement went through two stages. In the early stage, it was fortified with a ditch 4 meters wide, and later, individual homesteads with half-meter ditches appeared. Among the artifacts, a pearl and a bronze bracelet were found. An important part of the settlement was the craft quarter, where bog iron ore was extracted and textile production took place. 2 wells were also discovered, providing the settlement with water. Next to the settlement, a cemetery with about 60 graves from the 10th and 11th centuries was excavated, arranged in 2 rows. Most of the burials were carried out according to Christian traditions, with the bodies oriented to the east. Among the finds, a family grave and the burial of a child with hydrocephalus stand out, which indicates the care of the community. This gold tablet is one of many unique finds made by Serbian archaeologists in the ancient city of Viminacium, located in what is now Serbia. Viminacium was an important Roman city and military camp that flourished in the 1st to 4th centuries AD. However, the artifacts discovered, such as these tablets, indicate the existence of more ancient and mysterious customs here. The tablets are engraved with strange symbols, unlike the familiar Latin or Greek letters. Their meaning remains a mystery to researchers. These signs could have been part of an unknown language, a code, or magical symbols used in religious rituals. Since the tablets are made of precious metals such as gold and silver, it can be assumed that they held special significance for those who created them. Perhaps they were amulets or talismans that protected the owner or brought good luck. Despite all the efforts of archaeologists, the mysterious symbols have not yet been deciphered, and they remain one of the greatest mysteries of Viminacium. The monolith on Phobos. Phobos, one of the 2 moons of Mars, hides an amazing secret: a giant monolith. This monolith, about 85 meters tall, was first discovered in images taken by spacecraft. Its size and regular shape raise many questions among scientists. Some researchers suggest that the monolith could be an artificial structure left by an ancient extraterrestrial civilization. This hypothesis is based on its unusual geometry and its isolation from other geological formations on the surface of Phobos. The monolith looks as if it was deliberately placed at this location. This discovery has sparked intense discussions in the scientific community and has given rise to many theories. Some believe that the monolith could be an ancient beacon or marker left for future space explorers. Others see it as possible evidence of extraterrestrial activity in our solar system. The lost fragment of a Bible translation. Austrian scientists made a remarkable discovery in the Vatican Library, a new chapter of the Bible in a translation of the Gospel of Matthew, dated to 1750. The text, invisible to the naked eye, was discovered thanks to the use of ultraviolet photography. This discovery became part of a research project aimed at restoring texts that were erased or rewritten by scribes between the 4th and 12th centuries. AD manuscripts of this kind, called palimpsests, were created by reusing already used material. This was due to a shortage of writing materials. Ultraviolet light made it possible to reveal the lost texts. Among the 74 restored manuscripts, there was one especially valuable ancient version of the Bible, which is 100 years older than the earliest Greek translations, including Codex Sinaiticus. The new text expands the familiar verse about Jesus' disciples picking grain, adding that they rubbed the grain in their hands and ate it. This discovery is an important contribution to the understanding of ancient Syriac texts and the study of ancient writing. They prop the door with a valuable artifact. Imagine a unique work of art created by a master over many years was used as an ordinary doorstop in a shed. In 1930, the Council of Invergordon, Scotland bought a marble bust of Sir John Gordon for only £5 sterling. At that time, it was a negligible sum. Back then, no one suspected that almost a century later, the bust would be valued at £2.5 million, and that the money from its sale would allow the community to bring in up to £125,000 to its budget every year. This sculpture was created in 1728 by the French sculptor Edmé Bouchardon, known for his works for the gardens of the Palace of Versailles and the Fountain of the Four Seasons in Paris. His works have always been highly valued, and the bust sculpted in Rome has special historical and cultural significance. However, it was lost due to confusion in the documentation of the local authorities, and for many years it was used as a doorstop in one of the barns of Ballintar, an industrial area near Invergordon. When the bust resurfaced, experts from Sotheby's valued it at £2.5 million. Stromatolites are some of the oldest evidence of life on Earth. Their age is estimated to be about 3.5 billion years. These ancient formations consist of thin layers of sedimentary rock, which were created by colonies of cyanobacteria, primitive microorganisms capable of photosynthesis. Stromatolites can be found in various parts of the world, but some of the most famous and well-preserved examples are located in Australia, especially in the Shark Bay area. The cyanobacteria that created stromatolites played a key role in changing the chemical composition of Earth's atmosphere by releasing oxygen as a result of photosynthesis. This led to the so-called oxygen catastrophe, which, although it caused the mass extinction of anaerobic organisms, created the conditions for the development of more complex forms of life, including animals and plants. Stromatolites, therefore, are considered the oxygen factories of ancient times. Stone pipes of Beigu. In a remote region of China, at the foot of Mount Beigu, amazing underground pipes made of stone have been discovered. These ancient structures, which are over 5,000 years old, are astonishing in their complexity and precision. Excavation revealed that the pipes extend deep underground and come in various sizes, from small diameters of a few centimeters to huge ones over a meter in diameter. The technology used to create these pipes remains a mystery to modern scientists as to how ancient civilizations were able to carve and install such complex structures. Their origin and purpose remain unknown, which gives rise to many hypotheses and assumptions. Researchers suggest that these pipes could have been part of an ancient water supply or ventilation system. However, there is also a more intriguing theory. It is possible that the Beigu stone pipes are evidence of extraterrestrial involvement. The precision and scale of the construction make us wonder about the existence of ancient technologies that we do not yet understand. Interestingly, similar artifacts are known from other places around the world, for example on the Colorado Plateau. The pipes here also have a diameter ranging from 50 centimeters to 1. Archaeologists have found that inside these pipes are covered with an iron-containing crust. Something similar has also been found in Louisiana, USA. In this case, the diameter reaches 70 centimeters. A baby tooth archaeologist from Novosibirsk made an important discovery at the Obi-Obishir site in the foothills of the Pamir Ale in Kyrgyzstan. They discovered about 5,000 ancient artifacts, including stone tools, ornaments, and a tooth of a modern human. Canadian anthropologist Ben Saviola from the University of Toronto confirmed that this tooth belongs to Homo sapiens. Archaeologists compared the findings with earlier complexes in Kyrgyzstan and Tajikistan that were studied back in Soviet times. These complexes, located in the mountains of the Tian Shan and Pamir, showed a striking similarity in the types and methods of stone tool processing. Before this discovery, it was believed that humans did not live in Central Asia from 20,000 to 10,000 years ago due to harsh climatic conditions. The Homo sapiens tooth found, dating back to the Mesolithic, became the first find of its kind in the region. Giant hearse. Archaeologists have discovered a unique burial carriage in a barrow burial near the city of Dunfeng in northern China. The fragments of the hearse that were found, which is about 7 meters long and more than 2 meters wide, date back to the Liao dynasty era. Although part of the carriage was destroyed, many of the iron elements decorated with gilding have been preserved in excellent condition. In the second tomb, archaeologists found more than 30 artifacts including silver and copper ornaments, as well as gilded bells. These findings will help to study the unique burial rituals of the Khitan, the founders of the Liao state. Interestingly, some scholars believe that the Russian name for China comes from the Khitan people. Elite tomb in the Temple of Apollo. In the village of Gulpinar, archaeologists discovered an ancient Roman tomb about 2,000 years old located in the sanctuary of Apollo Smintheus. The tomb contained the remains of more than 10 people, including children and adults, which were mixed together, indicating possible disturbances or looting in the past. The Temple of Apollo itself, built in Hamaxitus around 150 BC, is constructed in the Ionic style. Elements of the decor have been preserved, particularly fragments of the entablature, depicting scenes from Homer's famous Iliad. The region cited in the Iliad was key in the Trojan War's history. Excavations in this area have provided numerous artifacts and traces of temples, offering a unique insight into life in ancient times. A grand discovery in Egypt. Archaeologists have found an ancient tomb with 11 sealed burials near Luxor, Egypt, in the South As-Sasif necropolis. The tomb dates back to the Middle Kingdom and likely served as a family burial site for several generations during the 12th and early 13th dynasties. The discovery was made possible thanks to a modern expedition of Egyptian and American scientists. This is the first Middle Kingdom burial found in South As-Sasif, which expands our understanding of this necropolis and its connection to the Theban necropolis. Because of ancient floods, many wooden coffins and linen wrappings were destroyed, but the ornaments have been preserved, including amulets and necklaces made of amethyst, agate, and faience. One of the unique items was a fertility figurine made of bluish-green faience, decorated with drawings and featuring grooves for attaching hair made of clay beads. A square sacrificial plate was also found, depicting symbolic offerings such as a bull's head, bread, and meat, which were possibly used in rituals. The remains of 5 women, 2 men, and 3 children were placed in wooden coffins, oriented from north to south. Jewelry was preserved in the women's burials, while the children and one of the men were buried without any. The other man was found with a necklace made of 40 faience beads and an amulet shaped like a hippopotamus head. This discovery is especially important in the context of the revival of tourist interest in Egypt, where historical treasures are once again attracting attention. 188-year-old hermit. Recently, a mysterious hermit who is 188 years old was found in a cave near Bengaluru. However, it turned out that the man known as Siarima Baba is actually no more than 109 years old, which is still quite a lot. A video showing two people helping the exhausted old man move around went viral online, sparking many comments and debates about his real age. Sharama Baba was born in Mumbai and attended school up to the 7th or 8th grade. He is a devoted follower of the Hindu god Hanuman and has dedicated his entire life to spiritual practices. After meeting the saint, the elder left his home and went to the Himalayas, where he devoted himself to penance and religious meditation. Sharama Baba renounced the comforts of civilization and lived in caves, wearing only a single cloth, spending all his days reading sacred texts. Ancient city in the oasis. Archaeologists have discovered the ruins of an ancient city over 4,000 years old in the Khaybar oasis in the northwest of Saudi Arabia. This city, named Al-Nata, was founded around 2400 BC and consisted of about 50 houses designed for a population of around 500 people. The city was surrounded by a massive wall 14.5 kilometers long, which likely protected its inhabitants from raids and the harsh climate. Interestingly, Al-Nata was preserved thanks to a layer of basalt, which protected the ruins from destruction. The discovery became possible thanks to aerial observations. From the air, the structure of the city walls and buildings hidden underground could be seen. Al-Nata became an important testament to the transition of the region's inhabitants from a nomadic to a settled way of life. Previously, scientists believed that at that time this area was just a desert, unfit for habitation. However, the findings in the necropolis, including metal axes, daggers, and agate items, indicate a high level of craftsmanship and technological development. Dancing Muse. In the ancient city of Stratonikeia, located in Turkey, archaeologists found a statue of a dancing muse that is 2,175 years old. This work of art was found during excavations in the Frigidarium, a Roman bath, but unfortunately it was missing its head and arms. The statue is set to be placed in the Muse Museum. The Turkish Ministry of Culture and Tourism claims that this is a unique work from the Hellenistic period. The creator of the sculpture, Philiscos, was a famous sculptor of the 2nd century BC, who became famous for his masterfully crafted bronze sculptures. Although numerous Roman copies of this sculpture have been found in Anatolia and Greece, the original work by Philiscos from the Hellenistic era is rare. This discovery in Stratonikeia is of particular value to archaeologists, as it allows for a better understanding of Philiscos' work and his contribution to the art of the Hellenistic period. Chinese fortress city archaeologists in Henan province, China, have discovered the ancient ruins of a Xia dynasty palace that is 4,000 years old. The discovery confirms the existence of this legendary dynasty, which was previously considered a myth. The ruins are located in Jinmi, an ancient fortress city. The discovery includes the remains of a rammed earth foundation covering 17 hectares, as well as various artifacts. Researchers suggest that the foundation was excessive, a Chinese residential complex with terraces, monasteries, and a central courtyard. Round structures have been noted resembling ancient granaries for storing grain, which gives insight into agricultural methods and grain storage of that era. This discovery greatly enhances our knowledge of Xia dynasty culture and history, which was previously based only on literature. The excavations make it possible to connect historical myths with real archaeological data, revealing new aspects of ancient China. Spaceship in Turkey. In Turkey, near the city of Şanlıurfa, is one of the most mysterious archaeological sites in the world, Göbekli Tepe. This complex, which is over 12,000 years old, consists of massive stone structures arranged in circles. Göbekli Tepe is considered the oldest known temple complex on Earth. The megaliths, up to 6 meters high and weighing several tons, are impressive for their precision and craftsmanship. The stone slabs are decorated with carvings depicting animals and abstract symbols. This level of art and engineering raises many questions about how ancient people were able to create such complex structures without modern technology. Researchers suggest that the construction of Göbekli Tepe might have been connected to extraterrestrial technologies. These hypotheses are based on the unusual precision and scale of the complex, which some believe could only have been achieved with advanced technologies, possibly provided by extraterrestrial civilizations. Göbekli Tepe continues to attract the attention of scientists and enthusiasts from all over the world, fueling interest in ancient mysteries and possible contacts with extraterrestrial beings. Perfume bottle. This small perfume bottle is a real artifact from the past which lay at the bottom of the ocean for more than 160 years. It was found on board the ship Mary Celestia, which sank off the coast of Bermuda. Mary Celestia is a legendary ship. It served as a blockade runner during the American Civil War and carried cargo that was illegally delivered to southern ports. In 1864, the ship sank under mysterious circumstances, and since then has rested at the bottom of the sea, hiding its secrets. On one of the artifacts, you can read the inscription PSN Lubin, London. This is the name of a famous 19th century perfume company that was renowned for its exquisite fragrances. This bottle has been remarkably well preserved, the glass was not damaged, and its contents still remind us of times long past. Even after more than a century and a half, the perfume has retained its scent, which became a real sensation for archaeologists and perfumers. This discovery gives us a rare chance to experience the scent of that era and to touch history through its fragrance. Terracotta water. Pipeline archaeologists discovered a terracotta water pipeline, 2,600 years old, at the ancient settlement of Keladi in Tamil Nadu, India. This discovery highlights the highly developed water supply systems of the civilization that flourished here thousands of years ago, and adds new information about the urban planning and engineering skills of the people of the Sangam era. Keladi, located 12 kilometers from Madurai, was first discovered in 2014. Since then, this site has become important for studying the Sangam period, which spans from 300 BCE to 300 CE. Over the past decades, more than 20,000 artifacts have been found at this site, indicating an advanced society that excelled in brick production, as well as the creation of busts and terracotta items. The recently discovered cylindrical terracotta water pipe, according to representatives of the Tamil Nadu State Archaeological Department, consists of 6 sections, each 36 centimeters long and 18 centimeters wide. These sections were carefully joined together, forming a water pipe with a length of 174 centimeters. It is believed that it was used for transporting drinking water, which demonstrates advanced hydraulic engineering skills. This discovery also expands our understanding that advanced engineering practices existed not only in northern India, but also in the southern regions, indicating a more technologically advanced ancient India than previously thought. A house with erotic frescoes. Archaeologists continue to amaze with their discoveries in Pompeii. Recently, they found a house where ancient frescoes about 2,000 years old have been preserved. These images, striking in their detail and vivid colors, depict ancient myths and have hardly suffered over the centuries. One of the frescoes depicts a satyr, the deity of the forest, lying with a nymph. The scene is reminiscent of myths where sensual and erotic motifs were commonplace. Another fresco depicts the legendary story of Phaedra and Hippolytus. Phaedra, in love with her stepson, tried to seduce him, but after being rejected, she accused him of assault. Hippolytus was unjustly punished, and Poseidon sent a wave to take revenge on him. There is another scene. Venus and her lover Adonis. Venus, captivated by his beauty, came down from the heavens for him, but Adonis died while hunting. Then Pluto decided to let him leave the realm of the dead for half a year to calm Venus. This became a symbol of the seasonal renewal of nature. The frescoes were probably created shortly before the eruption of Vesuvius, which explains their excellent condition. At that time, eroticism in art was considered natural, especially when it came to gods and heroes. Advanced construction technology. In Denmark, archaeologists made an important discovery at a 5,000-year-old settlement. They discovered a stone-paved cellar, which indicates significant progress in the building technology in ancient Scandinavia. The discovery was made at the Newgartsvej site, where remains of residential houses belonging to the funnel beaker culture were also found. In these houses, internal posts supporting the roof were discovered, and the floors were probably made from a mixture of sand and clay, a material known as loam, which is still used today. The location was chosen strategically. It was located on an elevation which provided protection from flooding and a good view of the surrounding area. Archaeologists found about 1,000 artifacts around the underground stone structure, such as flint tools, clay shards, and sea urchin fossils. Researchers believe the structure was used for food storage because of its stable temperature. This may be one of the oldest ever found. The underground structure likely served as a food storage facility thanks to its stable temperature. In Europe, used like a refrigerator to preserve food supplies. If further research confirms this, the discovery will become important evidence of a technological leap in ancient Europe. Reliquaries made of rock crystal. This reliquary, created in France between 1175 and 1200, is a work of art and religious craftsmanship. It is made of gold and silver and decorated with rock crystal, which adds transparency and lightness to it. Inside, relics of saints or other valuable items of great significance to believers could be kept. Such reliquaries often became objects of veneration. They were displayed in churches and monasteries, where they attracted pilgrims from all over. The design of the reliquary itself is especially interesting. It is made in the shape of a miniature building with decorative windows, arches, columns, and small figures of saints, symbolizing the idea of a spiritual temple. A transparent cylinder made of rock crystal allowed believers to see the contents, which strengthened their faith in the holiness of the relics kept inside. Namali figurines. One of the most mysterious artifacts of the African continent is the Namali figurines, found in Sierra Leone in West Africa. These ancient sculptures carved from stone depict strange creatures with disproportionately large heads, with bulging eyes and other unusual features that are not characteristic of human anatomy. Some of them even depict scenes that can be interpreted as mythological or religious. The unique shapes and features of these figurines have attracted the attention not only of archaeologists, but also of supporters of ancient astronaut theories. Some researchers believe that the Namali figurines may represent images of extraterrestrial beings with whom the ancient inhabitants of the region may have had contact. In their opinion, the strange proportions and features of the figurines may indicate that they were created under the impression of real beings of extraterrestrial origin. Although this theory lacks scientific evidence, it adds an aura of mystery to the Namali figurines and attracts the attention of ufologists and fans of mysticism. Mainstream science regards the Namali figurines as religious or ritual objects and believes that these artifacts were most likely used in ancient ceremonies or rituals related to the worship of gods or a god, since they could have symbolized certain mythological characters. As I told you before, when archaeologists or historians can't explain the origin of an artifact, it inevitably becomes an object of religious significance. Interestingly, Namali figurines are often found deep in the ground, sometimes together with other ancient artifacts, various iron objects or weapons, which makes it more difficult to date them and determine their cultural context. Some findings suggest that these artifacts may have existed in very ancient times, possibly long before the emergence of known civilizations in this region. Unusual artifact. The photo shows a carved model of an eye made from ivory and horn, dating to between 1800 and 1900. At first glance, this object may seem mysterious, but its purpose is related to medicine and education. In the 19th century, anatomical models made from natural materials were popular among doctors and teachers who used them to study and explain the complex structures of the human body. Such models allowed students and doctors to examine the structure of the eye and its functions in detail, without resorting to real organs. Ivory and horn were used because of their durability and smooth surface, which helped craftsmen create accurate and realistic details. In addition, such items were considered a status symbol and were used to demonstrate knowledge and expertise in anatomy. In the 19th century, medicine was developing rapidly, and such models played an important role in education. The mystery of the Jurft civilization. In Iran, in the ancient city of Jurft, archaeologists discovered unique artifacts. These findings, which are over 5,000 years old, are clay and stone items with images of unusual creatures and symbols. Special attention is drawn to figures with elongated heads and large eyes, which resemble descriptions of well-known beings. The images on the artifacts of the Jurft civilization are so unique and different from other known ancient cultures that some researchers have hypothesized possible contacts with extraterrestrial civilizations. These hypotheses are based on the idea that ancient artists might have depicted what they saw or heard about. The findings also include complex geometric patterns and symbols that have not yet been deciphered. This only adds to the mystery of this ancient culture. The Giraffe civilization, thanks to its mysterious artifacts, attracts the attention not only of archaeologists, but also of enthusiasts of mysticism and the unexplained. Mummified teenage mother archaeologists have re-examined the mummified remains of a young mother who died during childbirth more than 1,500 years ago and discovered shocking details. 2 fetuses were found in the pelvic area and in the chest. This discovery is both astonishing and horrifying. The mummy of a teenage girl who died during childbirth in ancient Egypt was found in the Karga Oasis at the El Bagawat Cemetery in 1908. The body was treated with salt, which is consistent with the ancient Egyptian practice of mummification. At first, archaeologists assumed that the girl died from complications during childbirth, but a CT scan revealed a second fetus in the chest cavity, indicating a twin pregnancy. It was especially disturbing to discover that one of the fetuses was missing its head. During the research, it was found that the baby's head got stuck in the mother's pelvis, which led to its decapitation during childbirth. This is the first known case in Egypt. It is assumed that the embalmers might not have known about the twins and forgot to remove the second fetus. This research highlights the dangers of pregnancy and childbirth in that era. The ancient Egyptians treated childbirth with deep respect, as can be seen from the spells against twin pregnancies. The Lost Fortress in the Sahara. In the 17th century, a mysterious ancient fortress was discovered among the endless sands of the Sahara. The scientists who studied this discovery were astonished by its complex architecture and unusual technologies, which are believed to have been used in its construction. According to records from that time, the fortress had unique features. Massive walls carved from an unknown but incredibly strong material, and complex water systems, the likes of which had no parallel in the known history of humanity at that time. This sparked speculation that it was built by members of an advanced unknown civilization or with alien technology. But before scientists could study and document this amazing discovery in detail, the fortress was once again buried under a layer of sand due to a sudden storm. Since then, its exact location remains a mystery. Despite numerous expeditions trying to find the fortress, it has never been rediscovered. This case attracted the attention of many researchers and mystery enthusiasts. We can only guess what secrets this lost fortress holds. Could it really have been created using technologies that surpass our own? Or is it proof of the existence of a forgotten ancient civilization? Ancient calendar. In the photo are mysterious artifacts from the ancient Menadra temple in Malta, which is over 6,000 years old. This temple, located in the Krindi area, is one of the oldest religious structures in the world. On the megalithic stone found here, we can see intricate patterns that are believed to have been used for tracking the equinoxes. How did people of that era, without modern tools, manage to track the movement of the sun and mark key moments of the year? This question remains a mystery for archaeologists and historians. The Menadra temple is under UNESCO protection and is one of the few archaeological sites in Malta that is protected by a special tent. At first, this may seem excessive, as the white tent disrupts the visual integrity of the site. However, upon closer inspection, it becomes clear that this protection is necessary. Without it, the detailed carvings would gradually be destroyed by wind and rain. Ceramic figurines from Mexico. In 1944, thousands of ceramic figurines were discovered in the Mexican city of Acámbaro, which have since sparked heated debates among scholars. These figurines depict people, animals, and even dinosaurs, which has led to speculation about possible contact between ancient civilizations and dinosaurs, or the existence of civilizations that possessed incredible knowledge about the ancient world. Some supporters of alternative theories even put forward hypotheses about extraterrestrial origin or influence. However, the authenticity of the Acámbaro figurines is seriously doubted by most scientists. Many researchers believe that these artifacts may be modern forgeries, created to attract attention or for commercial gain. The lack of reliable dating and archaeological context increases skepticism about their authenticity. The mystery of the Ellora Caves. In India, in the state of Maharashtra, there is an amazing cave complex, the Ellora Caves. This architectural masterpiece, which includes 34 caves, is carved directly into the rock and represents a unique combination of Buddhist, Hindu, and Jain temples. The age of the structures dates back to the period between the 6th and 10th centuries AD. The Ellora Caves amaze with their precision and complexity. Some of them are enormous in size and have exquisite details, carved with astonishing precision. The Kailasa Temple is especially impressive, carved from a single rock mass, and is considered the largest monolithic structure in the world. The technologies and methods used to create such complex and precise structures still remain a mystery. This has given rise to many theories, including suggestions of extraterrestrial involvement. Some researchers believe that ancient builders might have possessed knowledge and technologies passed down by alien civilizations. This unique complex remains one of the most intriguing archaeological discoveries, offering more questions than answers. Persian windmills. These unique windmills are located in the city of Nashtafan in eastern Iran and are ancient structures that are almost 1,000 years old. They were built around the year 1000 and are among the earliest examples of wind energy use in the world. These mills differ from the familiar European models in their design. They have a vertical axis, which is ideal for the local climate conditions. The strong winds blowing in this region turn the wooden blades connected to a vertical shaft, which drives the mechanism for grinding grain. What is especially impressive is that these mills are still in working condition today. They are made from natural materials such as wood, clay, and reed, which not only highlight the craftsmanship of ancient Persian builders, but also ensure the durability of the structure for centuries. These mills not only served their practical function, but also became a symbol of the resilience and ingenuity of ancient engineers. Today, they are an important part of the cultural heritage, reminding us how ancient civilizations were able to harness natural forces with minimal impact on the environment. The Nashtafan mills are a living testament to the technical genius of the ancient Persians, continuing to operate after thousands of years. The Secret Bell Project. According to various sources, it was a top-secret program aimed at creating technology ahead of its time. The bell was a bell-shaped device consisting of a metal shell and filled with a strange substance called red mercury. The tests were conducted in a remote laboratory in Poland, in the vicinity of Wrocław. The research related to this project covered a wide range of topics, from anti-gravity to time travel. Some theories claim that the Nazis tried to create a device that could change the outcome of the war by using advanced physical phenomena, such as distortions of space and time. However, the results of the experiments remain unknown, and after the war, the traces of the bell disappeared. The secrecy surrounding the project gave rise to many rumors. Some believe that the device was evacuated to South America or fell into the hands of the Allies. The question of whether the bell actually existed still remains open. The golden coffee pot. It may seem like an ordinary coffee pot, but its decoration makes us think. This strange item was given to the mayor of the city of Pembina in North Dakota around 1900. The surface of the coffee pot is covered with various objects, from shotgun shells and dice to pocket watches, seashells, and military buttons. All of this is put together and covered with a thick layer of gold paint, giving the item an eccentric and mysterious appearance. Who could have created such an unusual object and why? There is no answer, and it may never be known. This coffee pot could be a kind of work of art, or an attempt to create a memorable item filled with various symbols and stories. You can feel the spirit of the times and the eccentricity of its creator, who decided to immortalize everything at hand in one piece. The Vatican's Alien Archives. Ufologist Steve Bassett claims that the Catholic Church is hiding evidence of extraterrestrial life in its archives and urges the Pope to reveal this information. In his opinion, The Church has long known about contacts with extraterrestrial civilizations, but is deliberately hiding it. Bassett provides several pieces of evidence. Firstly, he noticed strange images in medieval paintings which, in his opinion, indicate the influence of UFOs. Hares fighting with knights or trumpeters using their bodies in unusual ways, in his opinion, hint at alien intervention. Secondly, in 2011, Vatican astronomer Guy Consolmagno jokingly said that the Church is ready to baptize aliens if any are found. Bassett took this as a hint at the existence of a secret Vatican program preparing for contact with extraterrestrial beings. The third piece of evidence the ufologist cites is a statement by former U.S. intelligence officer David Grush, who said that in 1933, Italy discovered a UFO, and Pope Pius XII handed it over to the United States. Bassett urges the public to demand that the Vatican show these archives to the world. 120 pieces of jewelry in the buttocks. The stricter customs inspections become, the more cunning smugglers get. Recently, a man was detained at El Prat Airport in Catalonia who tried to smuggle an entire collection of jewelry inside himself, hiding 121 pieces of jewelry in one of the most unexpected places, between his buttocks. He hoped to fly to Algeria without any problems. Among the hidden items were earrings, bracelets, rings, medals, and crosses. A full assortment for a jewelry shop. The border guard became suspicious because of the man's nervous behavior and his one-way ticket. He was taken to a separate room for additional inspection, where an X-ray scan revealed a large amount of metal in his backside. When the contents were extracted, even the experienced customs officers were shocked. 8 bracelets, 23 chains, 17 medals, 7 crosses, 19 rings, 15 earrings, and 32 fragments of gold jewelry. The attempt to avoid a customs declaration in this way failed. The man was detained and the gold was confiscated. Now the Spanish police are investigating the origin of the jewelry and the smuggler's possible ties to a criminal group. Out-of-place artifact. Out-of-place artifacts are discoveries that do not fit at all into the traditional understanding of our history. They are found in places and layers of Earth where they shouldn't be. The most amazing thing is that based on their age and level of complexity, such objects simply could not have been created in times when supposedly no advanced technologies existed. Official science often declares such findings to be fakes or simply ignores them, but there are more and more of them, and it's no longer possible to turn a blind eye. Let's take, for example, the mysterious bygone metal pipes discovered in China. These pipes go deep into the ground and stretch all the way to the shores of lakes. Their age is estimated at 150,000 years. The composition of the pipes, which includes iron and other minerals, along with their ancient origin, baffles researchers. Some believe that this is the result of natural processes, but others think that the pipes could be traces of a highly developed civilization, or may even have been left by extraterrestrials. Nevertheless, the forged nail, which is over 350 million years old, remains a mystery. This nail was found in a layer of rock dating back to the Paleozoic era, a time when humans, let alone metalworking, did not yet exist. How could such a nail end up in ancient rock layers? Some scientists suggest tectonic processes, while others talk about the involvement of previously unknown civilizations. In Provence, fossilized tools were found that could have been made by humans, or even from ancient trees. If this is true, such discoveries indicate the existence of intelligent beings who had woodworking skills long before the first known civilizations appeared. Other discoveries are even stranger. In Antarctica, the Altanin antenna was discovered, which at first looked like a high-tech object, but later it turned out to be just a sea sponge. Nevertheless, the very fact of such a misconception shows how wrong we can be when faced with the inexplicable. The Pulaski River tracks are another mystery. Giant humanoid footprints were found next to dinosaur tracks. This discovery calls into question our understanding of the chronology of life on Earth. After all, according to the theory of evolution, dinosaurs and humans never coexisted in time. There are other examples as well. The anomaly on Mount Ararat, which is associated with Noah's Ark, the clay figurine from Nampa, whose age is unclear, or the Wolfgerst iron, which is believed to be a remnant from a prehistoric era. We shouldn't forget about the Tucson artifacts. It's a collection of 31 lead objects found in 1924 near Picture Rocks, Arizona. These artifacts include crosses, swords, and other items engraved with inscriptions in Latin and Hebrew, as well as images resembling medieval symbols. It was initially assumed that they were created by ancient Mediterranean civilizations that supposedly crossed the Atlantic in the 1st century. However, later many scholars considered them to be a hoax created in modern times to mislead researchers rather than genuine Mediterranean artifacts. In any case, each of these artifacts calls our understanding of the past into question and opens the door to new theories and research. Perhaps our history is far more astonishing and mysterious than we could have ever imagined. Archaeologists hid this treasure in the 1st millennium BC. In the northwest of the Apennine Peninsula, a mysterious Etruscan civilization flourished, gradually suppressed by the Romans. Their cultural heritage is sometimes discovered in unexpected places. In 1991, Italian researchers Giovanni Lamarato and Giuseppe Majorano discovered an unusual object that had long gone unnoticed. Only 17 years later, Salvatore Foschi from Bomarzo became interested in the find, recalling stories from his father and grandfather about an ancient sanctuary known as the Preacher's Stone. This pyramid, whose architecture resembles Mayan structures, is carved from gray volcanic tuff directly into the rock. It is 17 meters long, 10 meters high, and 8 meters wide. 3 staircases are carved on the outside, leading to altars and channels for draining the blood of sacrificial victims. The Bomarzo pyramid, built around the 7th century AD, was used as a temple altar. Its popular name, the Preacher's Stone, points to its religious purpose. Despite the significance of the discovery, it did not receive proper attention, perhaps because it does not fit with the traditional history of ancient Italy. Officially, it is attributed to the Etruscan era, although the true origin of the pyramid remains a mystery. 38 headless skeletons. This discovery amazed archaeologists. In the Neolithic settlement of Rabel in Slovakia, they discovered a mass grave with 38 decapitated skeletons. This discovery, made by German and Slovak scientists, raised many questions about the causes of such deaths and possible ritual practices in ancient times. The find belongs to the linear pottery culture, which existed around 5,250 to 4,950 BC. This settlement consisted of 3 villages with about 313 houses, where up to 600 people lived at the peak of habitation. However, the remains found in a pit outside the settlement are arranged chaotically. The skeletons are mixed together, some lying on top of each other, and all except for one child were decapitated. This makes the find even more mysterious and raises questions about ancient rituals or conflicts. The project leader, Dr. Maria Wunderlich, suggests that this could have been a ritual sacrifice or the result of conflicts between communities. It is possible that there were special rituals related to death in this region, or even a cult where beheading had symbolic meaning. To better understand who these people were, the team is conducting DNA analysis, radiocarbon dating, and isotope analysis. This will help determine whether they were related, belonged to the same community, or came from other places. Remains of a new human species. At an archaeological site between Tel Aviv and Jerusalem in Israel, international researchers have discovered mysterious skull fragments that may belong to an unknown population of Homo. The remains discovered in 2021 may belong to Nesher Ramla Homo, who lived in the region 140,000 to 120,000 years ago. According to scientists, this population exchanged genes and culture with Homo sapiens. The skull fragments include a parietal bone with archaic features that are not typical for Homo sapiens or Neanderthals, as well as a lower jaw with archaic characteristics. Scientists suggest that Nesher Ramla Homo could have been an intermediate form between Homo sapiens and Neanderthals. According to paleoanthropologist Marta Lahr from Cambridge University, this discovery is significant because of its location and age. If this discovery is confirmed, it could explain the origin of other findings, such as the Tabun lady, discovered in 1932. Some scientists, however, express doubts, suggesting other explanations, including the possibility that the fragments belong to the Denisovans, an alien ecosystem on the remote Puna de Atacama Plateau in the Atacama Desert, located at an altitude of more than 3,650 meters. On the border of Argentina and Chile, archaeologists found a unique ecosystem with crystal-clear lagoons surrounded by salt flats. In this region, it rarely rains, and the sun creates extreme conditions. In April of last year, geologist Brian Hynek and microbiologist Maria Farias, while studying satellite images, discovered these lagoons and went there. Despite the difficulty of the journey, the researchers discovered 12 lagoons with a total area of 10 hectares, surrounded by barren mountains. Under the water were green stromatolite mounds, a microbial community that forms massive fossils. These formations resemble the stromatolites of Earth's Archean era, when there was almost no oxygen in the atmosphere. Hynek believes that this lagoon may be one of the best examples of early signs of life on Earth. In the Atacama lagoons, the formations consist mainly of gypsum, a mineral often found in fossil stromatolites. Hynek noted that the conditions in the lagoon resemble those of ancient Earth. Lithium will be extracted in this area, so the unique ecosystem will most likely be destroyed. Buddha in Nirvana. Underground at the site of the ruins of the 7th century Vajjana Tepa Buddhist monastery and temple, archaeologists discovered fragments of frescoes, stupas, and reliefs depicting Buddha, bodhisattvas, and other deities. Unfortunately, many of them were disfigured and partially destroyed even in ancient times. One of the most famous discoveries was a 13-meter statue of Buddha in Nirvana. It was made from compressed earth blocks, which were used in ancient times to create large sculptures. The statue was found in a ruined state, so it was literally assembled piece by piece. After the excavation, it was divided into 72 parts and transported to the Museum of Antiquities of Tajikistan for restoration. Today, the original Buddha in Nirvana can be seen there, and its copy is on display at the National Museum of Tajikistan. These discoveries not only reveal important pages in the history of Buddhism in Central Asia, but also highlight the significance of Vajjana Tepe as a center of spiritual culture in the ancient region. Fingerprints of an ancient human archaeologist discovered an amazing Iron Age statue with well-preserved fingerprints of its creator, allowing us to glimpse the life of our ancestors more than 3,000 years ago. This ancient clay figure, dating back to the 9th or 10th century BC, was found at the bottom of a lake in Italy, and according to experts, has ritual significance. The discovery was made in Lake Bolsena, a volcanic lake, where archaeologists found a clay sculpture resembling a female figure about the size of a palm. Usually such figures are found in burial sites, but this one was discovered in an area that was once a residential zone of a submerged settlement. The team from the Underwater Archaeology Service and the Italian Cultural Heritage Restoration Group, together with state divers, played a key role in preserving and recovering this artifact. Researchers note that the statue is so well preserved that the fingerprints of the master who created it are visible on it. This suggests that the sculpture might have been a preliminary model rather than a finished work. This discovery also sheds light on the ancient Italian settlement of Iola, which scientists believe existed during the Iron Age. The Gran Caro de Bolsena region, where the discovery was made, is associated with volcanic activity and has a rich history, the study of which began only in 1991 when researchers discovered a cluster of unworked stones, presumably belonging to the early Iron Age. Subtitles created by Dima Torzak, Ancient Night Bird Totem. On Huntoon Island in the St. Johns River in Florida, a unique artifact was found, an ancient carved figure of an owl, the only one of its kind east of the Mississippi. This 3-meter sculpture, estimated to be between 700 and 800 years old, was carved from a single piece of pine and is believed to have once guarded the island's shore. In 1955, Victor Robkep accidentally came across this totem while crossing the river. Today, a replica of the owl stands in the same place on Huntoon Island, which has become a state park. The original is kept at the National Museum of Fort Carolina in Jacksonville, and a fiberglass replica serves as a reminder of the ancient heritage. In addition to the owl totem, similar images of an otter and a pelican were found here, indicating the rich spiritual and cultural life of the indigenous peoples. The artifact was originally attributed to the Timucua people, but there is another hypothesis that it was created by the little-known Mayaka tribe, who spoke a different language. The exact function of the totem is unknown, but there are some theories. Some believe it was a clan symbol, others think it was a religious object or a boundary marker. The details of the carving are striking: 2 eyes, both human and owl-like, and 5 claws instead of the usual 4. It's possible that the owl was used in shamanic rituals, since in Native American myths it is often associated with the spirit of the night and as a protector of shamans. We are pets on a huge farm. Humanity may not be the only intelligent species in the universe, but there is still no evidence of extraterrestrial life. One of the arguments in favor of their possible existence is the Drake equation, which suggests that there should be many extraterrestrial civilizations. Recently, a group of scientists modified this equation by including the number of discovered exoplanets and reducing the number of variables to 2, the number of habitable planets and the probability of intelligent life emerging. The results showed that there could be billions of advanced worlds, but the timeframes of their existence were not taken into account. Astronomers from Columbia and Sydney universities refined the equation, concluding that either the universe must be full of life or it is extremely rare. The Fermi paradox highlights this mystery. According to scientific data, intelligent life should exist, but we see no signs of it. One of the hypotheses explaining this paradox is the zoo hypothesis. The hypothesis was proposed by radio astronomer John Ball. He suggested that alien civilizations exist but deliberately avoid contact with humanity, observing us as if we were exhibits in a zoo. They may want Earthlings to develop independently without external interference. This approach is reminiscent of the situation with the Sentinelese, a people on an island in the Indian Ocean who have refused contact with the outside world, and those around them respect their choice. Just like with the Sentinelese, alien civilizations may deliberately avoid interfering with our progress, observing our development from the sidelines. Nevertheless, the zoo hypothesis faces criticism. Some scientists believe that maintaining such a quarantine for millions of years is extremely difficult. Any lone civilization could break these rules and make contact. Others argue that the moral principles of aliens may not coincide with those of humans, which makes the idea that they care about our development questionable. Helmet in the shape of a mantis? Before you is a samurai helmet from the Edo period, made in the 17th century in Japan. This helmet is unique and striking, decorated with the figure of a mantis, an insect that symbolized resilience, speed, and strength. In Japanese culture, the mantis is considered a symbol of vigilance and the ability to wait for the right moment to strike. These qualities were highly valued in the samurai tradition, so the image of the mantis on the helmet points to the ideal traits of a warrior. Helmets in this era were often decorated with elaborate and sometimes extravagant elements, emphasizing the individuality and social status of the warrior. This helmet was not just a means of protection, but also a form of self-expression that inspired fear in enemies. Crafted with great precision and adorned with golden elements, it reflects not only the strength, but also the aesthetic values of the samurai of the Edo period. The Yonaguni Monument. Off the coast of Japan, near Yonaguni Island, lies one of the most mysterious underwater objects, the Yonaguni Monument. This massive stone complex was discovered in 1986 by the Japanese diver Kihachiro Aratake. The structure lay at a depth of about 25 meters and resembles giant terraces and platforms, creating the impression of an ancient megalithic complex. The origin of the Yonaguni Monument is still a subject of debate. Some scientists believe that the structure is a natural geological formation that has undergone erosion. However, the symmetry and clear lines, resembling steps and walls, lead many researchers to suggest that it is a man-made structure. Supporters of the ancient civilization theory point to possible similarities with other megalithic structures, such as the pyramids of Egypt or the structures in Malta. These hypotheses raise questions about what technologies could have been used to create such structures thousands of years ago. The most notable of these is the hypothesis of extraterrestrial intervention. Some researchers believe that such complex and massive structures could only have been created with the knowledge and technology passed on by extraterrestrial visitors. The Yonaguni Monument continues to attract the attention of scientists and mystery enthusiasts from all over the world. Tutankhamun's sandals. This elegant pair of sandals was found in the famous tomb of Pharaoh Tutankhamun and is now part of the Egyptian collection. These sandals are not just footwear, but a true work of art and a symbolic detail reflecting the worldview of the ancient Egyptians. They are made of wood and covered with intricate inlays made from bark, green leather, and gold foil. The images on the sandals depict Egypt's bound enemies, Nubians and Asians, symbolizing the pharaoh's triumph over his adversaries. The sandals were possibly used as part of ceremonial attire and held special significance. Imagine the pharaoh putting on such footwear as if trampling his enemies, demonstrating his power and his role in protecting Egypt. The inlay and detailing of the work are striking in their craftsmanship, testifying to the high level of skill of ancient Egyptian artisans. For the pharaoh, such items emphasized his status, his divine right to the throne, and his role as the protector of the nation. The mystical stones of Jalisco, known as Piedras Grabadas de Ojuelos de Jalisco, are mysterious stones found in the Mexican state of Jalisco, on which strange figures, scenes, and symbols are carved. These stones have attracted the attention of researchers and UFO enthusiasts because of the images that, according to some, indicate contacts between ancient civilizations and extraterrestrial beings. The stones depict people interacting with figures resembling aliens, as well as objects similar to modern representations of UFOs. Supporters of the ancient astronaut theory claim that these stones may be important evidence that the ancient Jalisco culture really did encounter extraterrestrial beings, or at least perceive such contacts within their myths and legends. Despite their controversial nature and lack of scientific evidence, the stones continue to attract interest as a possible artifact reflecting the interaction between mythology and reality in ancient cultures. They still attract the interest of antiquities enthusiasts, raising questions about how our ancestors might have perceived or interpreted unusual phenomena. Untouched Maya burial. In a mysterious cave in Tulum, located in the Mexican state of Quintana Roo, archaeologists discovered an untouched Maya burial. The discovery was made while building a trail between two ancient temples. Researchers unexpectedly stumbled upon a cave where human remains were found beneath a massive rock. The unusual situation with the burials raised many questions. Some skeletons were separated by the rock, as if a person was trying to reach a hidden chamber but ended up trapped. 8 burials were found in the cave, which was only half a meter high. The dry environment helped preserve the remains in their original state. 2 small chambers with animal remains were discovered in the cave, some of whose bones were fashioned into artifacts. The finds date back to the late post-classic period. The difficult excavation conditions do not stop the archaeologists, who are planning a 3-dimensional scan of the area. Fragments of alien technology. Professor Avi Loeb of Harvard University suggests that he has found particles of extraterrestrial technology in the meteorite that fell off the coast of Papua New Guinea in 2014. These fragments were brought to Harvard for research, and the U.S. Space Force Command confirmed with a probability of 99.999% that the material came from another solar system. Loeb and his team went to the meteorite's crash site on the ship Silver Star. They discovered 10 spherules, metallic balls colored gold, blue, and brown, some of which resembled miniatures. Analysis showed that the spherules contained 84% iron, 8% silicon, 4% magnesium, and 2% titanium. Loeb emphasized that these materials are stronger than any space rocks ever recorded by NASA, and were moving at a speed of 60 kilometers per second, which is faster than 95% of all stars near the Sun. These results suggest the possible artificial nature of the spherules, which could provide unique insight into materials beyond our solar system. The researcher suggests that the spherules may be part of a larger discovery, which they plan to investigate in future expeditions. If you want to get married, dig in China. Especially in the eastern provinces, there is a unique tradition of wedding wine called Nuer Hong or Hua Diao. It's not just a drink, it's a symbol that connects family, traditions, and long anticipation. Hua Diao translates as wine with floral carvings and is named so because of the tradition of pouring it into beautifully painted bottles decorated with patterns and ribbons. The second name, Nuer Hong or Daughter's Red, is connected to the fact that the wine is meant for the bride, who is dressed in a traditional red outfit. This drink is set aside right after a girl is born and aged for 18 years until her wedding. In this way, the parents seem to hint that there's no need to rush to marry off their daughter. It's better to wait for her to grow up. The wine is made using the traditional yellow wine method. The grains are steamed, a starter known as juk is added, and then they are left to ferment. Hua Diao is usually amber or brown in color, with an alcohol content of about 16%. This tradition started as early as the beginning of the Common Era. The wine was poured into jars, tightly sealed, and buried in the winter along the edges of a pond, which would be flooded with water in the spring so that the wine couldn't be taken. When the wedding approached, the family would go to the pond with shovels to dig up the cherished jars. The taste of this aged wine was deeply enriched by them. Today, jars are no longer buried. Wine is stored in cellars or bought in beautiful bottles made by craftsmen. At weddings, Nuer Hong is traditionally served to the bride's father, father-in-law, and groom to symbolize the family's bond. Now, Nuer Hong is more associated with joy rather than the sadness of farewell, as it was before when the bride left her home forever. Incredible luck. A farmer from the Indian town of Pani, Dilip Mistry, found a 16.1 carat diamond in a private mine, which was valued at more than $70,000. Mistry, along with 3 companions, hoped to find precious stones, but did not expect such luck. Local gemstone expert Anu Anupam Singh confirmed the authenticity of the find, and now the diamond will be sold at auction. From the proceeds, 12.5% will have to be given to the state as royalty, and the remaining money will be divided among the 4 prospectors. In the videos posted online, you can see Dilip proudly displaying the sparkling diamond and then handing it over to the district officer. Mistry stated that he plans to use his share of the money to improve his family's financial situation. Notably, this is not the first time a farmer has found diamonds. Previously, he and his partners had already found precious stones, although Mistry never said how much they were worth. A fragment of a multiplication table. An archaeological discovery was made in the city of Jinzhou, in the Chinese province of Hubei, turned out to be a real discovery for the history of mathematics. In one of the ancient tombs, which is more than 2,300 years old, thousands of bamboo slips were found, containing records related to mathematics, literature, medicine, and animal husbandry. These slips, which were used for writing before the invention of paper, contain more than 30,000 characters. Some of the most significant discoveries were fragments containing the oldest known multiplication table. The texts on bamboo demonstrate basic mathematical operations. 5 times 7 equals 35, 4 times 7 equals 28, and 3 times 7 equals 21. These cheat sheets date back to the Warring States period, which preceded the unification of China under Emperor Qin Shi Huangdi and the founding of the Qin dynasty. A student discovered an entire city. Mexican archaeologists accidentally uncovered an ancient Mayan city hidden in the jungles of Campeche. A student researcher from Tulane University, Luke Old Thomas, discovered a city called Valeriano while reviewing LiDAR survey data. This method allows mapping objects beneath layers of vegetation, and Old Thomas managed to spot what had previously escaped the attention of other specialists. The city of Valeriano, covering an area of about 16.6 square kilometers, impresses with its structure. Pyramids, sports fields, amphitheaters, and roads connecting the districts have been discovered here. Archaeologists believe that Valeriano was probably home to 30,000 to 50,000 people at its peak, from 750 to 850 AD. This city is second only to the famous Kalak Mole in terms of building density. The city layout indicates a complex structure, 2 major centers with temple pyramids, connected by a network of roads and residential districts, as well as residences and places for ceremonies. Traces of water reservoirs have even been found, which indicates a thoughtful use of natural resources. This discovery confirms that tropical forests were not places where civilizations die, but on the contrary, could support rich and complex cultures. Professor Marcello Canuto notes that the use of LIDAR technology over the past 10 years has accelerated the discovery of new Maya cities that previously remained unknown. The Great Pyramid at the Maya site of San Andres was built in response to the eruption of the Tierra Blanca Joven volcano in the caldera of Lake Ilopango. San Andres, located in the Zapotitan Valley in the La Libertad department of El Salvador, was founded around 900 BC as an agricultural center and became the capital of a Maya state between 600 and 900 AD. The eruption of the Tierra Blanca Joven volcano, which occurred around 539 AD, was one of the largest volcanic events in history, ejecting about 43.7 cubic kilometers of volcanic material. It caused significant climate changes and devastated an area with a radius of up to 100 kilometers. Dr. Akira Achikawa from the University of Colorado Boulder noted that because of the scale of the disaster, many settlements were abandoned and it took a long time for them to recover. However, research in San Andres, just 40 kilometers from Lago Ilopango, showed that construction began just a few years after the eruption. The construction of the La Campana Pyramid began just 5 to 30 years after the eruption, and it took about 80 years to complete. The pyramid, standing 7 meters tall and with a volume of 23,000 cubic meters, became the largest structure in the valley. Dr. Achikawa suggests that the pyramid was built using volcanic ash as a material and had religious significance related to the veneration of volcanoes in order to protect against future eruptions. It's 2,000 kilometers to Antarctica. An international team of archaeologists and paleoecologists has confirmed the remarkable skills of Polynesian navigators who were able to reach the southern latitudes of the Pacific Ocean, although they never made it to Antarctica. Researchers on Enderby Island, located 500 kilometers south of Stewart Island, showed that Polynesians sometimes lived for short periods on this remote territory. Cultural layers and midden heaps were discovered on the island, confirming their presence. Radiocarbon analysis made it possible to accurately date the settlement. Between 1250 and 1320, Enderby Island was settled, which coincides with the known dates of the colonization of eastern Polynesia. Professor Adel Anderson and Janet Williams-Wilmshurst, who led the research, noted that Enderby became the southernmost place of residence for ancient Polynesians. Further journeys to the south were almost impossible due to the cold ocean waters, lack of resources for boat repairs, and the risk of hypothermia. This data highlights that although the Polynesians were outstanding navigators, they still had limits in their expeditions. Cat geoglyphs. In Peru, archaeologists have discovered 29 previously unknown geoglyphs. These ancient earth drawings, found near the city of Ica, depict cats and human figures. Researchers note that the geoglyphs date back to the period between 300 BC and 100 AD, which corresponds to the time of the Paracas and Nazca cultures. With the help of drones, archaeologists were able to spot 10 geoglyphs with cat figures measuring 17 by 12 meters, and 8 images of cats measuring 37 by 13 meters. The remaining images depict anthropomorphic figures. Scientists believe that for the ancient inhabitants of Paracas, cats were associated with water and fertility, and they worshipped them as deities. In 2020, a 37-meter-long cat figure, over 2,000 years old, was found on the Nazca Plateau. As you can see, cats were loved and valued at that time, not only in ancient Egypt. The mysteries of the Codex Gigas. The Codex Gigas, also known as the Devil's Bible, is an ancient manuscript that holds many mysteries. Created in the 13th century, it impresses with its size and content. Inside the book, you can find not only the texts of the Old and New Testaments, but also an image of the devil himself, which takes up an entire page. However, the most intriguing are the astronomical maps, which appear unusually detailed for their time. This has given rise to many theories about the possible extraterrestrial origin of the knowledge used in creating the codex. Some researchers believe that the manuscript may contain encrypted messages or knowledge passed down by extraterrestrial civilizations. Legend has it that the Codex Gigas was written by a monk in a single night with the help of the devil. What secrets does this mysterious manuscript hold? And is it possible that its pages contain encrypted keys to ancient knowledge that came from space? The Codex Gigas remains one of the most mysterious artifacts of antiquity, and one that we will definitely study someday. Laser weapons of the Third Reich. During World War II, Germany actively sought ways to create fundamentally new weapons, capable of turning the tide of the war. According to some sources, the Nazis were working on prototypes of laser devices. These developments were carried out as part of several secret projects, including research in optics and high-energy physics. One of these projects could have been the creation of the so-called ray weapon or death ray. Research in this area was based on the advanced achievements of German scientists such as Werner Heisenberg, who studied the possibilities of using lasers for military purposes. In theory, such a weapon could strike airplanes, tanks, and other equipment at a significant distance using focused beams of energy. The technological level of that time did not allow such projects to be fully implemented, and after the war, most of this research remained only on paper. However, every year archaeologists find various artifacts and documents related to the Nazis, and what once seemed like a legend actually turned out to be a grim truth. The oldest wooden artifact. Archaeologists in Britain have discovered one of the oldest and best preserved wooden tools. It is an ancient wooden shovel-like tool found in the marshy area near Poole Harbor. It dates back to the Middle Bronze Age and is about 3,500 years old. Because it was submerged in water, the wood has been preserved in amazing condition. Researchers determined that the shovel was carved from oak and required many hours of painstaking work, which highlights its significance for its prehistoric owner. Radiocarbon analysis showed an age of about 3,400 to 3,500 years. So this is a unique find for Britain. The tool may have been used for working the land, harvesting peat, or even fishing, which were the main activities of the local inhabitants. According to scientists, during this period, people led a semi-seasonal lifestyle on the marshlands, using the area's resources in the warmer months and leaving it in winter when the land was flooded. The site where it was found was presumably used for drying peat or storing supplies. The ancient pharaoh was a mutant. Scientists claim that the ancient Egyptian pharaoh Akhenaten could have been a hybrid of a human and an alien. Stuart Fleischmann, an associate professor at the Department of Comparative Genomics at the Swiss University in Cairo, and his team conducted 7 years of DNA research on 9 ancient Egyptian pharaohs. Their results could overturn our understanding of ancient history. They used the polymerase chain reaction method for analysis to obtain an accurate genetic profile of the pharaohs. In 8 DNA samples, nothing unusual was found, but the DNA of Akhenaten, who lived in the 14th century BC, showed significant anomalies. One of the genes, CXPA, CXPAC5, responsible for the growth of the cerebral cortex, was especially active in Akhenaten, which may explain his enlarged skull, a characteristic feature depicted in ancient Egyptian statues. The increased activity of this gene suggests that Akhenaten had a more developed brain. Scientists cannot explain how such a mutation occurred, since similar changes in the human brain are unknown. This leads to the idea that ancient Egyptians might have been subjected to genetic manipulation by extraterrestrial beings. Additional data, such as the analysis of Akhenaten's bone tissue, also show its unusual density. This may indicate enhanced brain development. Fleischmann claims that the results were thoroughly verified and may serve as evidence that ancient Egyptians might have contacted extraterrestrial civilizations. Tornado 1764-1713.
64 года.
On June 29, 1764, in the German city of Waldeck, it was a day of repentance and prayer, Buß und Betag, a traditional holiday in Saxony. Most residents gathered in the church, reflecting in faith and seeking forgiveness for their sins. At that time, a powerful tornado struck the city, sweeping through the region, tearing down houses, breaking trees, and leaving destruction in its wake. Fortunately, Thanks to the stone walls of the church, most of the residents were saved. Only one person died. If the tornado had struck on a regular day, the number of victims would have been much higher. Back then, there were no instruments to predict weather anomalies, and people were defenseless against such phenomena as tornadoes. Knowledge about such natural disasters was scarce, and scientists could only rely on eyewitness accounts and damage assessment. But the German scientist and naturalist Gottlob Burckhardt Gensmer did a tremendous job studying the destruction. 6 months after the tragedy, he published an expanded report on the events, which went down in the history of science as one of the first studies of its kind. Gensmer noted that the tornado reached F5 on the modern Fujita scale and T11 on the Toro scale, one of the highest categories of strength. The tornado was up to 900 meters wide, and wind speeds could exceed 480 kilometers per hour. The tornado swept through forest, uprooting mighty oaks, hurling huge stones 35 meters into the air, and collapsing buildings like houses of cards. In its path, the Lichtenberg forest was destroyed. Mansions and farms were wiped out. Many animals died, and people were injured. Gensmer, known for his scientific approach, meticulously recorded all the details of the disaster. He measured tree trunks, checked roof thickness, interviewed witnesses, and found out the weather on the day of the tragedy. His research was the result of a careful, almost detective-like analysis, and was published in a 56-page report containing 77 paragraphs. This documentary evidence lay in the archives for almost 250 years until it was found in the Schwerin Library, which became a real find for historians. Gensmer's report is different from other descriptions of natural disasters of that time. There is no hint of mysticism or supernatural explanations in it, only facts. Gensmer used an empirical approach, drawing conclusions based on objective data, which made his research a significant contribution to science at the time. I hope you enjoyed the video and that it earned a like. Thank you for watching until the end. Goodbye, everyone.